Picture with me a second. It's the Christmas season. You're thinking of all the different people that you will need to give gifts to this year. And you may have even already have some lists of potential gifts prepared. As you're organizing your thoughts, the TV breaks in with a commercial about giving to charity. Or maybe you're at work and you're handed some information on a charity and the need for you to contribute your one-time donation or to donate through some payroll deduction. At this moment, something different occurs for each individual who hears and sees this information. Generally, the reaction that occurs falls into one of three categories. Either A, they frown on having this charity shoved in their face, that, hey, where is my charity? Or, I worked as hard and earned all this money, why should I give it to someone else crowd? Or, they see it as just something compulsory for their job. Here we go again. If I don't give, someone at work may find out, so I better. Or they see it as a moment to do something great and help make a change in some person's life by making a contribution. The I'm going to change the world type person. If you felt like the individuals I just described in categories A or B, hey, don't worry, I happen to be one of them with you, until I experienced having to rely on charities to help me personally when I suffered the loss of my home in 2004. So let me begin to relate my personal tale of why giving is not only important, how to choose a worthy organization to give to, and how charities directly impact a person's life like my own. So the scene I described to you earlier is all too common around the gift-giving season of Hanukkah and Christmas, where people are bombarded by ads for charities. The typical motivating factor of these ads are very simple. They tend to play on the feelings of guilt to motivate people who are spending so generously on friends and family that there are those in the world who just can't or will go without. However, behind these ads are some very real people who you may not know or may never even get to meet, who really can't help themselves and do have needs these charities try to fill. To provide you with a better idea of how important charities are, according to the Urban Institute's National Center for Charitable Statistics, or the NCCS, in a published report in 2007, statistics gathered from 1996 to 2006 showed that the number of charitable organizations, both public and private foundations, increased a staggering 36.2% across the board. Organizations such as the United Way created 2 new programs such as Success by 6 and Born Learning, which in its first year alone received $44.5 million worth of donated media. 10 million pieces of research-based material engaged 375 communities and connected with more than 1.2 million parents about the importance just of earning learning. So these statistics are just some examples to provide you an insight into the ever-increasing need for giving to charity. However, do you know which charity is worth your hard-earned time and money? With news reports that point out negatives of some charities and of their mismanagement, as well as of funds, it's a common question that we have to ask ourselves before we make a decision about whether we should contribute to a charity or not. There are numbers of organizations who act as watchdogs over charities. However, the Better Business Bureau, or the BBB, provides an in-depth review of many charitable organizations that are broken down through a national, state, or even regional perspective. So, according to the Better Business Bureau, Wise Giving Alliance, in 2008, the Alliance produces reports on nationally soliciting charitable organizations. About 1/3 of these BBBs in the United States report on regionally soliciting charities, and the Alliance does not rank those charities, but rather they seek to assist the donors in making informed judgments about charities soliciting their support. With organizations such as this, you as a donor can check into any individual charity that solicits a donation from you and make an informed decision about whether or not that organization merits your time and your money. But if you're still on the edge about giving to charitable causes, let me relate to you for a moment how those charitable organizations directly impact a life like my own. Near the end of May of 2003, I had received a phone call at work from the fire department telling me I had a fire in my home and that they needed my assistance. At first I had thought it was a coworker making a joke, but as this horrible realization set in that the person on the other end of the phone was not joking and fear and uncertainty began to set in. I just started down the road of recovery from a 13-month stint of unemployment in 2002 I had no cash reserves and just enough insurance to barely cover the cost of the home as well as its contents. Not knowing what to do, me and my family having no money left, the first charitable act came from this fire department itself. Using donations from other families that had experienced similar circumstances to my own, they were able to house my family and myself for at least one night. The second charitable act came from the Red Cross, and that a representative delivered to us a personal care kit. This personal care kit contained some of the necessities: blankets, waters, basic personal items, toothbrush, hairbrush, etc. And the third charitable act came from the United Way in the form of a box of books, small toys, coloring supplies, and a $125 per person voucher to a local store to purchase some clothing since we had lost ours to the fire. Overwhelmed by the situation and by the generosity of these charities, as well as the people who contributed to them, I had to stop and I had to reevaluate just what I thought about the charity as a whole. So, understanding what a charity is, how it functions, who it benefits, and most importantly, how it directly impacts a life, in this case, my own life, I have to come to the conclusion that I'm going to ask you to reconsider what it really means to you when those commercials come on the TV or the radio, and when you see that pamphlet appearing at your place of work. I know I did. I was probably like many of you listening today who never thought it could personally happen to me, and thought charity started at home, and that any other number of stereotypes that are associated with those who receive charitable aid. Please give to a worthy charity regularly, because who knows, it may one day be you who has to receive these types of services. Thank you for your time.